Hi, ladies. Welcome to your journey to meet your inner goddess. I am so excited for you to be here. I want you to take a minute and make this space your own. Let yourself get comfy, cozy. Maybe grab a blanket, grab a comfy sweater. Make sure that you're going to be uninterrupted for the next hour. I want you to also take note of what you're sensing in this moment. So if you need to grab a candle, if you need to grab some water, please do so now. We want you to be as comfortable as possible for this journey. I also encourage you to grab a notebook and pen so that we can help you really remember what it is that comes up. So, if you have your pen and paper with you, you're going to be able to keep notes about this event and anything that feels like an aha moment or a hit on your intuition. Definitely, pen and paper are maybe a must in this instance of journeying in this teaching today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah. I am a healer up here in Ontario, Canada. I am a mom, and I am also someone who has found my path through a tumultuous time in my life. Like many healers and those who help others, we've gone through a bit of a rocky start in our lives in the world, and that has brought me personally through to this life in which I now believe that no one should ever have to heal alone. I walk the realms of both the reality of the world we're living in, as well as the spiritual world, that shamanic aspect, being able to help and guide women into that spiritual world is really my life's calling. When we walk that path, I'm able to help you as a woman really come into yourself. We get to take off all the masks that we put on every day. When we get to take those off, we really get to dive into who we are at our deepest core. I am so honored to be here with you today, with both Miriam and Kimber as well. We are very unique in our gifts, but coming together, we form this beautiful triad, this interweaving of our gifts. And we are so excited to share that with you today.
Hi, sisters. My name is Kimber, or I also go by North Star, which was a soul name that was given to me on Vision Fast several years ago. And that name really speaks to what I'm seeking to offer in this circle and how I really try to show up in my life. My own journey has been marked with a lot of periods of darkness and wandering through the wilderness of these times, feeling really lost and desperately seeking some external salvation or liberation. And through my own process of returning to earth based spiritual practices and recognizing the divinity that is inherent in the very land under my feet and in all of the plant ones and animal ones and the cycles of the seasons and of the moon, seeing the magic that is all around allowed me to finally start to connect to how my own self is a microcosm for all of that and find that divinity within me too. And I've come to believe that we do all have our own internal compass, that we can be this guiding light in the darkness that always orients us back to our true north and the path that was set out for us in this life, in this incarnation, that there's meaning and purpose in all of our trials and tribulations, and every step of our journey is a gift that teaches us and trains us to be able to manifest our unique soul gifts and share them with the world. And so I'm so grateful to be in this circle of women who are awakening to their own divinity, who are preparing the way for the goddess to return from exile in and through their own bodies and vessels. And I'm so honored to be in this space of deep reverence and devotion for the goddess as she is embodied through every face of every woman that shows up and says yes and makes space for her to come through. Because these are times of such great turning and so much is falling away and there's so much destruction and pain. And yet, from the cracks of this old paradigm, there is this beautiful new growth and possibility emerging. And each one of us has work to do in service of that. And we need each other as these reflections, and inspiration and support system to empower and resource each other to manifest the highest and greatest capacities of each one of our souls, um, to really be in service to this new time, this new emergence of a new chapter and a new story in human history, and for Mama Gaia herself and all the creatures that share in this beautiful home with us.
Hi, I'm so honored to be here with all of you. I'm Miriam Katz. And one thing that I love about North Star is that her name really suits her. That if you were to look up at the night sky on any given night, what you would see are a handful of stars that initially all looked kind of the same. And then the more you focus in, the more you notice that there is one star that stands out with its radiance, with its prominence, and that is North Star. She has this tremendous wisdom, intelligence, and sparkle. And it really takes looking directly at her to notice it, to notice how she stands out. And in terms of me and the mythos that I'm working with, I'd say Miriam's well. From my biblical ancestor, Miriam the prophet, is my primary orientation. That to me, we are all wells. We are all well springs of the deep, and it's our work to clear our channel, to open up our well, to allow for more of that deep soul wisdom to rise up and to allow us to hold even more light from above as we continue to clear our channel out.
Yeah, and the one thing about Miriam too that I want you all to know is that Miriam is very much her namesake. She, when you get to sit with her in person and even virtually, you learn really quickly that she's just this plethora of wisdom and knowledge. And it's almost as if she can just weave and really explain deeply and profoundly what it is that's moving through you as you heal on your journey. She's able to channel with extreme accuracy and confidence in this way that just feels so at home. She truly sees you. She sees your core. She sees who you are beyond those layers and those masks that we put up. And not only that, but she sees you through your ancestors' eyes too, and how your own journey to this lifetime has been affected by those journeys of past, and almost parallel, I would say. So I am so excited for all of you to experience and taste both the incredible gifts that both Kimber and Miriam, and I guess myself too, have to share with you today as a triad. We're a very unique triad and we bring multiple different things to the table. So this journey and this venture here today is going to be maybe a little bit different than what you've experienced before, but it's ours truly, and it's something that we've woven together through Goddess and through intuition. And we hope that you enjoy very much what we've kind of prepared for you, and what intuition, what divine, what Goddess has brought forth. So without further ado, let's kind of talk about Goddess, right? That's kind of why we're here. We're here to journey to meet our own inner goddess. But let's kind of start at the very basics and kind of go into what Goddess is, who she is, right? So if you have your screen on, and if you're not able to see, just taking a moment to feel into all of us who are here today. So feeling into the essence, take a look around at everyone who's in front of you on the screen and look at the smiles, look at the kind eyes that are before you, the hair, just the essence of each and every one of us, right? Goddess is in each and every one of you here today. She is representing home, right? When I think of Goddess, I think of home. I think of home within us, home within me. It's bliss for me to think of the Goddess and to tap into her. And it's a state of being that we can find within us. And when we tap into her, that bliss, that state of divine feminine comes forth even stronger than when we just walk her every day. She's here to guide us and to support us. And she is inside of each and every one of us. Now, remembering that Goddess is within us, we have to also remember that she was born within us. So when we were born, Goddess was already here. She was with us when we were 3 years old. She was with us when we were in our pre-teen stage and as a teenager through adolescence, all those maybe troubling times that we've been through. She's been here all along. She's been here through our adulthood. And even though we may feel disconnected from her, we have to remember that, she's not lost. She's not abandoned us in any way. She may be just merely forgotten about. She may be just frozen in time, waiting to reemerge. And how beautiful that is that we can tap into her today and bring her forth, thawing her out a little bit more, bringing her more into our own everyday life, letting her essence fill us from the inside out. So as Goddess lies within each and every one of us, she is also all around us. So she's those dewdrops on the grass, those blades of grass in the morning. She is the trees outside, the plants in our home. She is the one who embodies the earth and in the streams. She is everything and everyone, and embodies qualities like nurturing. She has qualities like our intuition, our creativity, and wisdom. She is maiden, mother, and crone energy and represents all different stages of life. Through growth, through transformation, she is with you each and every day. She comes through as an embodiment of all that is. So even just taking a second to look around you, right? Noting that Goddess can come through everything around you here today. And I think it's really important that as we move forward and as we embrace the Goddess in spirituality, we also honor the urge to create and manifest her as creation itself. Okay. She's not just a concept, but she's more of the woven fabric that is of our existence. She is mirrored in nature and she is mirrored all around us, but most importantly, we have to remember she is within us. And I think sometimes as we go through the everyday life, we forget that. So in order to have her come through today, and when we journey into the Goddess, I want us to just try and remember that we all carry her, we all carry her essence, we are her. And today is about unveiling her to ourselves, where we're at today, not where we were at yesterday, but just showing up with her here today and accepting us as we are, accepting her as she is. She doesn't want us to change. She doesn't want us to add anything, to just allow her to come through us. And to do that, we must try to really get the perception of ourselves kind of out of the way, right? We all sit in judgment of ourselves more harshly than anyone else. Give me a nod if you agree with that we sometimes judge ourselves more than anyone else. So today, the way to allow her to come through is really to get that perception and just kind of set it to the side, just allowing us to show up in truth of who we are and allow her to blossom within us like a budding rose, opening up the flower to our hearts, the flower to our wombs, the flower to our space, and just to really trust. So Miriam or Kimber, did you want to add to that at all? Because I know we have different perceptions and takes on the Goddess.
That was so beautiful. I really just want to amplify, if anything, especially that piece that Goddess is everything as we see her, and everything manifests like she is creation embodied. And so much of this work for me is in response to thousands of years of a very different narrative that we've been handed, that sees the earth and our bodies and physical manifestation as somehow fallen or separate from spirit. And this reclaiming of the Goddess for me is really recognizing that that divine essence is infused throughout all of creation. And so the path that we're walking as priestesses of the Goddess is first and foremost one of devotion and reverence, and claims such responsibility for walking upon the body of our very mother that is this earth, that all of the creatures and plants and animals are her children and also manifestations of her and carry that same spark, and that we ourselves are literal representations of her that she expresses through each unique female and male and all that is, but for us especially, that the Goddess comes to know herself with each story of every woman expressing itself, and that as Sarah was saying, to release some of these external measuring sticks that we think we need to worship externally or weigh ourselves against, versus this recognition that we are incarnate with unique soul gifts and a purpose for being here, that we have something to offer in service. And in awakening to the fullness of ourselves and honoring our own body as a temple of that divine love and light, that our highest service and purpose in our own incarnation is fulfilled when we claim our own goddess energy, rather than subverting ourselves to some kind of external or outside or disembodied or disincarnate force, rather than really honoring all that is in such love and interconnection and devotion.
Beautiful. I'm going to share about 3 different facets of goddess that each of us carries within us and that also exist in the outer world, which, when you come down to it, are one and the same. So, and what is up on the screen is a map of the 3 wombs in goddess shamanism. Now, we are drawing from an ancient map of the universe that comes from Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, the very oldest, most ancient book of Kabbalah, which is called Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation or creation. And that book puts out this map of the universe that is birthed by 3 mothers. So each mother has a womb, and we'll be exploring where those wombs exist in our bodies and in the world. And so you have a picture of a goddess here, and there are 3 stars on her body that illuminate the 3 different worlds or wombs in which we find these aspects of the goddess. There is the upper world that is located in our heads. And just as it's located in our physical bodies, in our heads, in the external world, it's associated with the heavens, which shamanically we would call the upper world. So in shamanism is a really ancient study of the living universe, the animate living universe in which everything has a spirit. And if you're looking cross-culturally, most cultures have this 3 world cosmology, right? Upper world, middle world, and lower world. And Kabbalah places these not only out in the world, but also in our bodies. And so as we start to understand ourselves as manifestations of divine feminine, of goddess herself, we can understand these different aspects of our power that we carry inside of us. So in our heads, right, which may be associated with the 3rd eye, but it's something that I would encourage you to tune into yourself and see what emerges from your own inner truth. We carry the energy of fire. So just like in the heavens, you would find stars and suns, in our brains, you might see electrical impulses that light up our brains, right? And so that's how I relate to the element of fire in our heads. The 2nd world or womb in goddess shamanism is that of the middle world or the middle womb. This is in the heart center, in the chest, and it is associated with the element of wind. And out in the world, this is the atmospheric realm. So this is the space where we all, our physical bodies, all dwell, right? It's on the surface of the earth. We are breathing in that air. We are feeling the wind on our skin. Wind is also associated with the mental realm, just as fire is associated with the spiritual realm. And so this is the area where our physical bodies are meeting now. And then the 3rd womb or world is the lower womb. And this is the womb that is inside of the earth. This is considered to be the most ancient or original womb. It is associated with the mother of water. And according to Sefer Yetzirah and Kabbalah, the water element actually was engraved into the earth element. And so water precedes earth. And so when we connect in with that lower womb, we're connecting in with the element of water, with the element of the deep. And so as we think about ourselves as wells for goddess energy. For me, my passion is about drawing up that watery energy, which is associated with the world of emotions and also with that element that is soul, right? Soul comes through our emotions. And so we've been educated to push them down and push them away, pretend they don't exist. But that's where our power is, our unowned, unclaimed power. And so that is the space that is infinitely giving when we start to tap into it. And I will just open that up and see if either of my sisters.
Kabbalistic awareness that our bodies are microcosm for all of these energies that exist in the universe in macrocosm, and intending and connecting with this temple of ourselves, we get to connect with these universal energies, that we are that medium between. So powerful. Thank you, Miriam. So we're going to move in next in our we're going to give you kind of a little taste today of some of the main tools and resources that we've been using in this practice of goddess shamanism to connect with our innate divinity. And there are these two tools of invocation and evocation that are really central. And evocation is this work of drawing forth and out the goddess that is within us, our unique manifestation of her in ourselves, in our lives. And then invocation is the process of calling in the spirits that are all around us, the unseen realms, the elements, the directions. And so to set sacred space, which is a key tenet of this priestessing work of tending the temple of the earth, the temple of our body, and the temple that's created when sisters gather together in sacred space and circle. We're going to begin by calling in the traditional 7 directions from both core shamanism and as they manifest with these goddess energies. So I'm going to invite you, if you do know the actual directions, maybe as I call forth, you can orient and actually look in that way. And if you're not sure or in a space where movement is not as comfortable, maybe just turning in your mind's eye to call in those energies. So we're going to begin by turning to the east. And we're calling into this space the energies of the east, the element of air, that dawn of new beginnings, the springtime, the beginning of the wheel, that high and wide perspective, calling in the spirit of eagle, that innocence of a newborn child, that awe and wonder at all of creation, that first step on the fool's journey to step into mystery with so much joy and anticipation, that playfulness of the springtime, of the beginning of any cycle and path. And we ask that the energy of the east, the spirit of air, blow through this space, clearing any stagnant energies, whatever doesn't serve, that we may make way for the new beginnings that each day, each moment promises for yet deeper growth and new learning. And bowing in thanks to the east, we turn now to the south, and we call upon the spirit of fire, the energies of high noon, of midsummer, that heat and passion and creativity, our animal nature, our wild indigenous selves. We call upon this energy of fire to illuminate and inspire and enlighten our own hearts, to energize our centers of passion and creativity, a lighting up through our root and sacral chakras, to really connect to our own passion for what is ours to offer in this life, what turns us on and lights us up, that we may have the courage and tenacity to share it, to step boldly onto this path of our own becoming. And so in gratitude, we bow to the spirits of the south as we turn again, another quarter turn to the west now, and calling in the spirits of the west, the element of water, that flow of giving and receiving, the time of autumn now, of twilight, when the dark begins to creep in, bringing with it the dream time, deep imagination, this connection to the depths of the oceans, the wellspring of that deep goddess energy flowing from our deepest, most core, this place of our own anima or animus, our guide to soul that takes us through the mysteries into this time of inspiration, the dream time where all is possible, this place of deep emotions and receptivity, and this place where we learn to be in symbiosis in that twilight time when things are both beginning to die away, when we learn how to be in that flow of reciprocity. And so, with such gratitude, we bow to the spirits of the West as we turn once more to face the North now, and calling upon the spirits of the North, the element of earth, the temple of destruction and regeneration. This is the place of winter, of midnight. It is both the end and the spark of new beginning, a place of death and darkness that yet also composts and receives and provides the fertility for the next turn of the cycle. This is the place of the ancient ones, the wisdom of the grandmothers, of the stone ones. And we call upon this ancient, deep time, deep knowing to guide us and ground us into that energy of the earth, solid and rooted and strong as all things come and go in their time, the connection to source that is eternal. And now coming back to center, we turn our gaze upward and we call upon the spirits of the great above, the realm of the Queen of Heaven, the Sky Father, all the star nations. And we ask that these ones shine their light down upon us, that they share in their radiance, that it may illuminate the path that is ours to walk in this life, in service and in love, that we may reveal to ourselves our highest capacities for our greatest joy and to be an offering in our lives to this world. We ask that you shine light through our minds into our hearts, that we may see ourselves with love and beauty and in our fullness and shine that radiance as a guiding light to others. And now looking down, maybe even putting your hands on the ground or the floor, we call in the spirits of the great below, Mama Gaia herself, earth embodied as our mother, she who birthed us and sustains us and nourishes us and calls us back again to her at the end of our days. We call upon the spirits of our ancestors, both of the land that we reside on and of the blood that we carry within us. We walk upon the bones of all that have come before, and we thank you with such gratitude for the service of your lives to offer us the opportunities that we have in these days. May you continue to guide us and be with us as we step into a space where we may one day be ancestors for the future ones. And in such gratitude, we give thanks to this great below. As we come now, maybe placing our hands on our own heart center, as we call in that spirit of the center, the great mystery, the child of promise, that divine spark that lives in our own heart center, that each being carries that piece of divinity of infinite possibility. May we open to our highest potential and greatest joy. May mystery infuse our lives with the magic and medicine that is ours to carry, that we may truly embody the goddess energy of love and light in these times of so much darkness and destruction. And may we connect to this inner guidance to infuse all of our days and our paths with meaning and purpose. And so, in such gratitude, feeling ourselves situated in the center of this magic circle, of this container of sisterhood, feeling all of these energies swirling and protecting and holding us through our work as we continue into a journey together.
Thank you for that beautiful, heartfelt invocation, North Star. I will be sharing an overview of how to journey. We'll be doing a hybrid shamanic journey today, what I like to think of as like a field trip where the bus takes you to the site, lets you off, you have your own journey, and then the bus takes you home. So for those who are beginning journeyers, it will feel much more accessible. For those of you who have journeyed before, it will feel like a guided meditation coupled with a journey. I'll be reviewing some of the tools, some of the maps to the, or the road maps to the field trip that will help you along your way. And we'll start with the intuitive senses, which I like to talk about in terms of the 4 clair senses. So clair means clear. And most of us are familiar with clairvoyance, which means clear seeing. This is when you receive visions, right? Or images that you're getting. Oftentimes, when we start with our eyes closed, for those who are really advanced and further along the path, they may see them with their eyes open. This can range anywhere from seeing colors or symbols to seeing whole scenes in front of you. And most people, when they start journeying, just assume that a journey is going to be a visual experience or a multisensory experience, like your waking experience, but generally it's not. And so I'm preparing you for that because some people go into journey space and they don't see anything, right? So they have their hands so they can start feeling around with them. So that goes into the second sense that I'll discuss today, which is clairsentience, which means clear feeling. So for me, clear feeling comes through 2 channels. One is things that you might feel with your hands, which includes sensations. So shamanically, we are trackers. We're tracking energy, and we can track energy as it moves through our body. And so you might take a moment now and close your eyes, tune inward, and notice any sort of sensation that's inside of your body. So many of us are used to noticing aches or pains or things like that. So maybe you notice that. Maybe you notice tingling. Maybe you notice constriction or expansion. And the key in noticing these things is then noticing where are they located, right? And where does it extend into? And as I'm tuning into these sensations, are there any other senses that are present? So the second aspect that I also think of in terms of clairsentience is the feeling of emotions, right? So what emotions might be present inside of you now, right? You can notice what's here now. You can also track as you're going into journey space, what sort of emotions come up as you encounter maybe an animal or a landscape or an aspect of the goddess. Is there awe? Is there, what emotion is present? Where do I feel it in my body? How does my body respond to that emotion? Because these are also shifts. This is energy that's moving inside of you and starting to open things up, to shift things, to show you where energies might be stuck, emotions that still need to be digested or processed in order to move along. Because emotions are energy in motion. They are designed to be in a state of flow. And again, the more we push them down, which many of us were educated into, right, or felt we had to do, the more they get stuck. And so as we move into this work, it becomes about allowing them to flow and to expand and to move. However uncomfortable that might be sometimes, it's a gift once they are in motion. The next major clair that we can pay attention to is clairaudience, which means clear hearing. And these might be song lyrics, right? So if you hear a song lyric or a song name, it's like, what is that saying? What does it mean, right? It might be humming, toning, vibrations that you're hearing. It might be words. And if there are words coming through, you might notice that they're coming from inside of your head, right? Or from outside of your ear. You might notice if the voice seems to have a gender or an age. Do you recognize that voice? Is it your voice? Is it someone else's voice? And these are all clues that we can open up and tune into to get more information about this intuitive information that's coming through. So that's clairaudience. And those are the four major ones. You might also taste or smell things in your altered state in the journey, and that's information as well. And so, oh no, there's also claircognizance, clear knowing. And this is when a sense of knowing drops in and you don't know how you know it, but you just know it, right? So you didn't read it in a book, no one told you, it just shows up there and it's something to trust, to work with. And this takes us to the next stage, which is that for those who begin journeying, inevitably the question will come up of, am I making this up? And just know that everyone goes through that, and it's a natural part of questioning that comes along with gaining a new skill. And a teacher who I've studied with, who's considered a luminary in core shamanism, is Sandra Ingerman. And she explains it on a spectrum, this range of agency that we have in the journey state. And I like to use it because it really helps to make it clear. So on this spectrum, we have, on the one end, we have daydreaming, where in a daydream, we are making up the whole thing, right? What am I doing? Who's there? What are they saying? You might imagine a whole conversation and you have agency in both ends of that conversation, right? And the whole scenario. On the other end of the spectrum, you would have a dream that is a non-lucid dream, right? So you go into a dream state, you're there, something shows up, you're not controlling what you're doing, you're not controlling what they're doing, the experience is happening to you. In a shamanic journey, it is a hybrid between daydream and sleeping dream. So you're showing up with full agency, you're going in with an intention. The intention guides your energy, it directs energy. You might have questions that you're bringing in, you'll be thinking, right? Like all of these things are present inside of you. In terms of who's showing up, that is not your conscious choice, right? You might say, I'm going in to meet an aspect of the goddess, and then something shows up, right? Or someone shows up, and that's not your choice. That's just showing up. You can choose how you interact with them. But you are managing your own behavior and not theirs. And also one of the ways that you really know that you're not making it up is if that aspect of goddess is saying things or doing things that you wouldn't have chosen, right? That they may seem bizarre, outlandish. And so it's just a good checkbox for you of like, oh yeah, I'm not making this up. I wouldn't have dreamed that up. So that's agency. And okay, so we use our intention. We set an intention before we go into the journey. Our intention today is to meet an aspect of our inner goddess, right? Because we all carry that divine spark within, like a drop of the ocean that is the divine, the oneness. And I find that it can be helpful to bring a gift. So just as if you were going for a meal at someone's home, they are hosting you, you like to bring a host gift, right? To say thank you for hosting me, for spending time with me, for honoring me in that way. And in that way, you're also developing a reciprocal relationship. And so you might think of like, since I'm meeting an aspect of my own inner goddess, what is something that I really value, right? So I really value dark chocolate. So I might bring dark chocolate on that journey to meet my inner goddess. The other thing to note is that we will be entering a portal, right? So you might think of it as a journey hole or a gateway, an opening. So we talked about the 3 different worlds, and there will be a portal to any of those worlds. And the portal is of your choosing generally, right? So you may set an intention and about your journey portal. So I'll give you the context of how we're going to go in so you can start thinking about what your portal will look like. So we are doing a middle world journey today. So that means that we are not going down into the earth. We're not going up into the heavens. We're just crossing a threshold into a deeper layer of this reality, of this middle world where we dwell. So you might think of that as crossing a doorway. And what I might expect to see with my own eyes, if I were to walk out of that door in ordinary waking consciousness, is not what I'm going to see, because there will be some level of lifting of the veils to go into a deeper level of reality that is more symbolic and mythic. The last thing about journeying is that there is generally a callback symbol. So journeying, we use percussion to enter into an altered state, and repetitive percussion, because that is turning our logical brain into a resting space. So that repetitive percussion sounds a lot like this. And if I were to call you back through a traditional journey, I would do a callback symbol, which for me, or signal, which for me would be, so that's 7 hits, and I would do those 4 times. In this case, because it's a hybrid guided journey on our school bus, we are going to just use my voice, and we're going to enter in that way. So this is the time where we transition into the journey state. And so you can find yourself getting comfortable. Some people journey while sitting up. They might close their eyes in their chair. And some people, especially when they're beginning, find it more comfortable to lie down and close their eyes. And sometimes people fall asleep when they're journeying, and that's okay. Whatever needs to happen happens. But if you know you might fall asleep and you don't want to, then maybe you try it sitting up. So I'll invite you to take a moment and to get comfortable as we prepare to go into this deeper space of meeting our goddess. Getting comfortable. So as we prepare to embark on this journey, we hold our intention in our hearts. Our intention is to connect with an aspect or the totality of our own inner goddess. And with that intention guiding us, guiding our energy, we're going to imagine our light body, our spiritual body, rising from our physical body, leaving the room or space where you are now, and heading to the exit. Assuming you're in a building, you're heading to the exit of that building, which will serve as the portal into non-ordinary reality. Imagine yourself moving through that portal into altered consciousness in this middle realm. And as you do so, crossing this threshold, you may notice mists all around you. Notice that you're entering into deeper and deeper layers of consciousness. And emerging out into the world, finding yourself walking along a path. And that path is illuminated. So you can see light on the path or perceive light on the path. Again, taking note of whatever senses are present for you here. So while I say see light, you may not see it, you may perceive it. So noticing how your body is perceiving that light. following that light down the illuminated path. Noticing what's around you as you walk this path toward your inner goddess, who is beyond your sight, your perception at this point, but is pulling you closer and closer, like a magnet seeking its source, its point of resonance. And as you walk along that path, you may notice a signpost that is directing you to the well of the goddess. Noticing any emotions that may be arising inside of you as you get that affirmation that you are walking the path to the goddess's well. And as that path continues through the mists, you might feel the mists on your skin. You might hear wind. You may notice energies around you, plants, animals. As you walk on that illuminated path that is warmed by the sunlight. You find yourself coming to the end of the path, where the path reaches a great round clearing. And you notice, if you have shoes on, that there is this desire to shed those shoes as you step into even more sacred, hallowed ground. Not only to honor that ground, but also to allow you to draw up its nourishment through the bottoms of your feet. A pathway upwards to fill you. And at this clearing, you may also notice that there is a keeper of the well of the goddess who is here to guide you to that well. And you can take note of how you perceive this keeper of the well. Are they human? Are they other or more than human? Is there a sense of gender? Any emotions that come up in response to this being? And this being asks if you are ready to approach the well of your inner goddess. And you take note of the gift that you have brought. You prepare it as you accompany this keeper of the well to the well at the very center of this circular clearing. And as you step closer and closer, noticing that the energy is getting stronger beneath your feet, drawing you in ever more magnetically towards this powerful wellspring, this source of sacred water in front of you. As you reach the well, you feel yourself being drawn to look inside, where you will glimpse or perceive very clearly your inner goddess. Knowing that you may ask any questions you might have for this goddess, getting to know her better at a deeper level. Taking with you this remembering, this knowing our divine feminine is. Asking any final questions you might have. Extending gratitude to the goddess. Following this gatekeeper, this well keeper, back to the illuminated path. Gathering your shoes. Returning down that lit path. All the way back to the doorway that leads you back into ordinary reality. Moving inside, noticing the difference as you step back into ordinary reality. Going back to where your body is resting and merging with it. Finding yourself back in your body, back in your body. Back in your body. You can take any brief notes that you might have And we want to honor all of you who have come here today, honoring your time, honoring that in our grand enthusiasm about this work that we have led you just up to the last moment. And so while we have a lot of interest in hearing about your shares, these are things that you can send to us via email if you would like. If there are sisters in the circle who you have and would like to reach out to and share your journeys with them, you can do that as well.
So if you are wanting to take everything a step further, if you're loving what you're hearing, if you are intrigued, if there's something beckoning to know more within you, then we have some options for you to join us. The one way is to join us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram at the School of Goddess Shamanism. You can follow us online on Facebook at the same handle. You can always email us as well and find us at goddessshaman.com.